Reggie Miller called the Thunder Rockets last night on TNT, and he's got the Grizzlies and the Spurs coming up tonight at 9:30 Eastern on TNT. Already seeing reaction here, Reg. You know, that Westbrook proving he's not the MVP based on last night. I'm saying, oh my gosh, I hope that we don't compartmentalize this and say all of a sudden whoever plays well or whoever advances is the MVP. But what do you take away from last night's game between these two?
Well, certainly James Harden has more weapons surrounding him, better shooters, and a better fit for players under head coach Mike D'Antoni's system. Both are phenomenal. And for all the people, as you alluded to, that are hating on Russell Westbrook, number one, the votes are already in. It would be nice to actually have a chance to watch players throughout the playoffs and then do the voting, especially now. This is the first year that we're actually going to have an award show. I believe it's June 26th. So actually you could watch all the playoffs and then actually do your voting for the MVP. I would love to watch players during the playoffs when it's money time, when it means the most. But the votes are already in. So it doesn't really matter what happens between Russ and James and the Thunder and the Rockets because the vote's already in.
But I'm watching Houston's team. I don't know if they're that much more talented than Oklahoma City. It's just they are better suited for the system that Mike D'Antoni has, whereas Oklahoma City loses Kevin Durant in a system that they had built for years. So it feels like they don't have the system that Houston has a team system. Oklahoma City has a Russell Westbrook system.
Well, look, right now and really all season long, the Thunder have been a one-man band, and they've been that walking triple-double in Russell Westbrook. He needs shooting, and, Victor Oladipo was 1 of 12 last night. To me, for them to win this series and be successful in this series, Westbrook was going to need a wingman. He was going to need another guy who can create offense on his own and who can make timely shots. To me, Victor Oladipo has to be that guy. They don't have the shooting of a Ryan Anderson or a Lou Williams, Eric Gordon, Trevor Ariza. Patrick Beverley last night was the X factor for the Rockets, and he played it at both ends. He had to guard Russell Westbrook, and he had a career playoff high in 21 points. And you look at the Thunder roster, if Andre Robertson's going to be your second leading scorer, a guy that's known for his defense, then you're going to have problems night in and night out because Mike D'Antoni says we're going to treat him like Vegas in the house money. If he makes shots, we're just going to shake his hand and lose. He had a great game, but he can't be your second leading scorer.
Paul George's comments, he didn't take the last shot against the Cavaliers. C.J. Miles did. He said afterwards, I should be taking that last shot. Now, I'm paraphrasing, but how did it get to the point where Paul George is not taking your last shot? And as being a Hall of Famer, how does it work when it comes to that last shot?
Well, there never is a pecking order. Usually the best players do get the last shot because the ball normally ends up in their hands. But let me backtrack a little bit because he's right in his comments. He should be taking the last shot. He's absolutely wrong by saying that publicly on the day after the game. That's something that should be handled internally in the locker room, between the head coach and C.J. Miles or whatever. The play was simple. It was a 1-4 flat. But let's backtrack a little bit, okay? They're down 105-109. They come down and run a simple high screen and roll where Paul George knocks down the three to bring them within one. As you saw, Tyronn Lue and the Cavs did not call a timeout, and they went with the play where LeBron James missed the three, and the Pacers got the rebound and called timeout. What I would have liked, and I believe Jeff Van Gundy said this on the air, they should have went with the play right away. They didn't need to call a timeout because what that timeout did, it gave the Cavs and Tyronn Lue a chance to set up their defense. They knew Paul George was going to take the shot, so they had a foul to give. If you don't call a timeout in that situation, all those factors are not discussed during that timeout. So I would have loved to see the Pacers once they secured the rebound on 109, 108, let Paul George go one-on-one then. I guarantee you they probably wouldn't have thought of fouling, which they had that foul to give. And on that very last play, LeBron James did the right thing. They came with a soft double on Paul George's left side. Two things he did right. Paul George, you have to give the ball up. That's the unselfish play. But if you do want to be selfish, which you could have been, you should have attacked J.R. Smith to his right when LeBron James, because he saw LeBron James coming up on his left, attacked J.R. Smith on his right. That's where he could have made the move and been a little bit selfish if he wanted the last shot. He made the unselfish play and the right play to give it up to C.J. Miles. There's no way, as soon as he gave it up, you saw him chase after the basketball. There's no way he would have got a great look off going to his left to catch the basketball, shooting back right. I understand the frustration because, yes, you are supposed to take the last shot when you're the best player, but it doesn't always work out that way. I don't like him saying that on the podium afterwards because now if you're C.J. Miles, you have to answer the question. And this is the guy that's never been put in that position before, especially in team basketball, which that's what basketball is. We all got to take the hit on that.
He's Reggie Miller, NBA on TNT. Reg had Rockets, Oklahoma City last night. He's got Grizzlies and the Spurs coming up tonight on TNT. Is this the last call for the Clippers?
Well, I certainly think so. I think the window is closing. But look, let's not jump off the tallest building quite yet. It's only one game.
No, not even, game. But not based on this series. You know, if they don't get out of this series, then they'll dismantle this. But I'm wondering, is this the last go round? No matter how far they get in the playoffs, unless they get to the NBA Finals, it feels like Doc is not going to be there, and then they're going to start to reassess. You know what the future is.
I believe Doc will be there. I believe a team will offer JJ Redick a lot of money. So I believe he will be gone. Now you've got to answer the question, can we retain Chris Paul and Blake Griffin? To me, those are the two main questions. And I believe Doc will be there. You're not going to get a better head coach than Doc Rivers. The big question is, can and do both Blake and CP3 want to continue to play together? I believe J.J. Redick is gone. I think another team will offer him a lot of money. So, yeah, I think the band is breaking up with the Clippers no matter how far they go. But these are lofty expectations we are asking the Clippers to do. The 4-5 matchup is always a pick-em matchup. And it looked like the air got let out of the building when Rudy Gobert went down. It was almost like the Clippers exhaled a little bit, like, okay, we're on easy street. Well, give Quinn Snyder and the Jazz a lot of credit for piecemealing that victory together, and that's why you brought in veterans like George Hill and ISO Joe Johnson for moments like this in the playoffs. So they still game one. I always thought this was going to be a dogfight series. I still believe the Clippers can win this series, but now you're asking them to win in the second round. Well, who's waiting for them in the second round? A team that's beat their head in the last 9 times.
Yeah.
In the Golden State Warriors, the team with the best record.
Wait, you call him ISO Joe?
Oh, that's what he was called in Atlanta, ISO Joe.
He's got 20,000. He's got 20,000 points, Reg.
He does. Yeah. And a lot of those came on isolation plays.
and $210 million in the bank as well.
I'll take it.
Man. Okay, here's a question for you. Who's hurt their basketball legacy more while running a team? Michael Jordan or Phil Jackson?
Phil Jackson.
Okay.
Phil Jackson. Well, look, we'll always think of the GOAT because the GOAT has those 6 rings and 6 finals MVP.
Yeah, but Phil's got 11.
He does. But he has rode the back of a lot of great players to get those 11.
What is he doing with the Knicks, Reg?
I have no idea if I'm Carmelo Anthony, I've got to feel betrayed and let down by management and my ownership. I mean, this is sad what Phil Jackson is doing to Carmelo Anthony. I would love to come on here and just kill the Knicks and laugh. Me coming from Indiana, But I really do feel for Carmelo Anthony because it's not right what has gone on with him over the last 2 years. And if I was him, I would stick to my guns because I've got the ultimate trump card, the no trade. I wouldn't accept whatever deal they brought to me and force Phil Jackson to cut me. That's what I would do. There's not going to be a deal where the Knicks will get fair value in a trade for Carmelo. So just hold pat and force them to cut you.
There's no way that Phil would do that.
Cut him?
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
Oh, boy.
And I go back to my point. Who wants to play for the Knicks when your management is doing this to your best player and then tells your second best player you're not ready to take the mantle? And Porzingis.
Yeah.
Porzingis skips the exit menu because he's frustrated. So if you are a potential free agent on the wings waiting and you maybe wanted to play for the New York Knicks and you see what's going on in management, do I really want to be a part of that?
Nope. Yeah, it's a mess, man.
Hey, don't get me wrong. New York is a great place to play. Fabulous. The fans are very knowledgeable. I loved playing against them. I love the atmosphere of playing in the Garden. But, man, come on. 80 and 166 over 3 years for Phil Jackson. You tell me another general manager, president, that would still have his job after that track record.
Unless
in New York City.
Oh, yeah. But unless it was the 76ers who actually tell their fans, we're trying to be bad. The Knicks have paid money, and they're trying to be good, and they're bad. So...
Was it Carmelo Anthony who went out and signed Noah to that deal?
No.
Was it Carmelo Anthony who went out and got Derrick Rose?
But also, I think the Knicks thought that Melo could get free agents in there, and I wouldn't want to play with Melo if I'm a free agent. So it's, I think they overshot what they thought could happen with Melo. That boy, he's going to get dream teamers to come in here, and they're. If he's a third option on a team or a second option on a team, then that'll be great for Melo. But I don't want to build around him, and nobody's going to want to play with Melo in New York either.
Well, they tried to build around him, and that's why they gave him the big contract, and they gave him the no-trade clause, and they brought in, Noah and Rose, and they drafted great in Porzingis, don't get me wrong. That was a great pickup by Phil Jackson. But for whatever reason, it has not worked. And that's not Melo. Melo doesn't have to get on the phone and call all the free agents and say, come play with me. That's management's job.
No, these guys talk all the time, Reg. That's what happened in Miami. Those guys got on the phone and started talking to each other. And all of a sudden, you get together.
Well, if that's the case, then...
Golden State.
Then shouldn't LeBron have been on the phone with Carmelo to get him in Cleveland?
I'll bet he tried to. They were talking about Kevin Love for Carmelo, that possibility. We'll discuss this. We'll have plenty of time to talk about the Knicks. Safe travels to the Grizzlies and the Spurs.
Theodore, you are truly and always the best. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, buddy. That's Reggie Aloysius Miller.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.